This instructional video is to be used only as a training aid. It is not intended as a replacement for the operating instructions or repair manuals. Installation operations should be performed by qualified personnel. Before beginning any no-blow installation or repair procedure, be sure to read, understand, and follow the operating instructions in the manual. And remember, always use genuine Mueller parts, and always use the appropriate safety equipment. This video training module will illustrate the installation or repair procedures using Mueller's H-17190 series one-piece low-pressure line stopper fittings. The Mueller one-piece fitting offers a fast and cost-efficient way to make stop-offs, bypass stops, and lateral extensions on steel pipe up to 4 inches. This fitting consists of the one-piece forged steel body, plus an O-ring sealed completion plug and a cast iron completion cap. The H-17190 fitting is available in 6 sizes: 3/4 inch, 1 inch, 1 1/4 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, and 4 inch. All sizes are rated at 250 psi maximum working pressure, except for the mechanical joint style, which is rated at 125. During the stopping off operation, all sizes are rated at 100 psi. The 3/4 inch, 1 inch, and 1 1/4 inch fittings have a brass completion plug, and the 3 larger sizes have a steel plug. Mueller also offers 3 variations of this one-piece, low-pressure fitting. The H-17191 mechanical joint fitting is ideal in emergency situations, or when no welder is available. It's available in 2, 3, and 4 inch sizes, and it's rated for 125 psi working pressure and 100 psi during the stopping off operation. The H-17192, for use with thin wall steel pipe, is offered in 3 and 4 inch sizes. It has a maximum working pressure of 250 psi and 100 psi during the stopping off operation. The H-17193 lateral extension stopper fitting requires 2 machines, one to drill and one to stop. It's available in 2, 3, and 4 inch sizes. This variation also has a maximum working pressure of 250 psi and 100 psi during the stopping off operation. Before we begin any procedure, the proper toolkit must be selected. To do this, 3 things must be known: the size and style of the fitting, the drilling machine being used, and the type of valve or control chamber that will be used. Knowing this, the appropriate toolkit can be selected from the Mueller Gas Products catalog or the operating instructions manual. In this demonstration, we will be working on the Mueller 2-inch H-17190 fitting using the E5 drilling machine and the H-10917 slide gate valve. The same basic procedures are used for the other sizes and styles of fittings in this series. The slide gate valve, or SGV, consists of the following parts: 2 ductile iron body halves, top and bottom, that are bolted together, 1 stainless steel disc assembly, 1 O-ring seal, and 1 bypass relief valve, plus a multifunctional handle that is used to carry the gate valve, open and close the hex operating nut, and tighten the valve to the fitting. All of these SGV parts are field replaceable. The valve is available in 2-inch, 2.5 inch, 3 and 4 inch sizes, and is pressure rated at 275 psi. Let's begin with the installation of the 2-inch H-17190. Mueller recommends the same 8 basic procedures for installing fittings as it does for installing tees. 1. Read, understand, and follow the instructions in the operating manual. 2. Clean the main. 3. Attach the fitting. 4. Test for leakage. 5. Perform the drilling operation. 6. Perform the stopping operation. 7. Insert the completion plug. 8. Install the completion cap. Following these steps, first, thoroughly clean the main of dirt and debris at the point of installation. Before any welding is done, be sure to remove the completion plug so as not to damage the O-ring. Then, attach the test cap. Next, weld the fitting, aligning it vertically on the main. Once the weld has air-cooled, test for pressure tightness. Now, attach the 2-inch slide gate valve to the fitting. Mueller recommends that the optional adapter bushing be used with the SGV because it extends the laying length of the SGV, making it equal to the length of the bronze gate valve, with no adjustments for travel required. The bushing also protects the bottom ductile iron threads on the SGV when it is tightened to the steel fitting. When the bushing wears down, it can be easily replaced at less cost than replacing the lower body of the slide gate valve. Next, prepare the E5 machine for the drilling operation. Attach the proper machine adapter nipple to the machine with gasket seal in place. Make sure the bleeder valve on the adapter is closed. Attach the shell cutter and pilot drill to the tool holder. Then thread the entire assembly to the boring bar of the E5 machine. Hone the leading edges of the shell cutter and pilot drill. Then coat them both with Mueller cutting grease. Check the slide gate valve to make sure it's open. Then retract the tools into the machine adapter and thread the entire unit onto the SGV, holding up on the boring bar. This will prevent the pilot drill from dropping onto the main and possibly damaging the drill or shell cutter. Make sure the bypass relief valve is in the bypass position and gently lower the boring bar until the pilot drill touches the main. Lock the yoke assembly to the boring bar and back the pilot drill just off the surface of the main. This will keep the drill from starting in a bind. Lock the ratchet handle in the forward drive. According to the blue operating manual, the travel for a 2-inch H-17190 fitting is 1 3/8 inch. Measure 1 3/8 inch down from the yoke and mark this point on the machine body. The cut can be made by hand or with the H604 air power operator. To use the air motor, remove the ratchet handle and place the inner chuck of the motor onto the square drive of the E5 drilling machine. Now tighten the outer clamp onto the raised neck of the yoke. Before attaching the air hose to the throttle connection, be sure to blow down the line. This will remove any dirt that might clog the air filter. We also recommend having an air gauge at the throttle to monitor air pressure and an inline oiler to assure proper lubrication. Operate the throttle at the recommended 90 psi pressure. This will automatically feed the shell cutter at the 10:1 cutting ratio recommended for the E5 machine. This is equivalent to 10 full turns of the ratchet handle to 1 full turn of the yoke handle. This is the optimum advancement of the boring bar and shell cutter. If the cut is done by hand, apply a light, even feed to both the ratchet handle and the yoke. If the yoke is fed too fast, it will force the shell cutter into the main and risk breaking the pilot drill or cutter teeth. Continue the cutting operation until the feed yoke reaches the 1 3/8 inch mark on the body. If the cut is performed with the air motor, release the throttle and manually rotate the yoke clockwise. If it turns easily, the cut is complete. If it doesn't turn easily, run the air motor for one turn, then stop and check again. Continue this process until the cut is complete. Once drilling through the main has been completed, the machine will be under full line pressure. Do not disengage the yoke. This could allow the boring bar to move upward with great force and possibly cause bodily injury. Now, turn the yoke assembly in a counterclockwise direction, backing the shell cutter out of the main and the fitting all the way, bringing the coupon with it. Unlock the pivot arm. Disengage the yoke assembly, and, while controlling the piston action, raise the bar to its rearmost position. Close the slide gate valve. Holding up on the boring bar, relieve the pressure through the bypass relief valve. Remove the machine and adapter from the SGV. Clean and hone the shell cutter and pilot drill to make them ready for their next use. Before stopping off this fitting, clean away the metal chips from inside the bottom of the pipe. This is one of the most critical steps in the entire operation, since the bottom of the pipe is used to set the stopper and achieve a positive stop-off. For cleaning, use the chip sweeper. Our standard sweeper consists of a wire brush on the end of a rod, which is operated through a ball bearing arrangement. It has a brass stuffing box, which is O-ring sealed. In this demonstration, we will use a new sweeper option, a magnetic chip remover that is now available as a replacement for the standard brush-style sweeper. It's ordered separately and easily replaces the brush on both new and existing chip sweepers. Thread the chip sweeper to the slide gate valve. Hold up on the rod handle. Place the bypass relief valve in the bypass position and open the SGV. Simply lower the magnet to the bottom of the pipe. Raise it slightly off the bottom as you move it over the entire area beneath the cut, collecting the chips in the process. We recommend doing this twice, cleaning the chips from the magnet between procedures. Now, raise the rod to the rearmost position and close the SGV. Relieve the pressure and remove the chip sweeper. We are now ready to perform the stopping off operation. A solid rubber stopper will be used. In situations where continuous gas flow downstream is required, Mueller offers bypass rubber stoppers for use with this fitting. We will cover those later in this video. Here, using the solid stopper, we will compress our stopper against the bottom of the main, in effect expanding it to fill the inside of the pipe to stop gas flow. In order for the stopper to compress correctly, the proper tool must be used to hold the stopper. The holder needed here is hollow, allowing the stopper shaft to rise freely as the stopper is compressed. A solid holder used here could bend the shaft, damage the stopper, and prevent a complete stop-off. Attach the 2-inch rubber stopper to this hollow holder and thread the entire unit to the boring bar of the drilling machine. Apply Mueller rubber stopper lubricant to the stopper, but keep the bottom of the stopper dry. This will create more friction between the stopper and the pipe and not allow the stopper to move out of the optimal position. Do not use other lubricants which may attack the rubber and shorten its life. Retract the stopper into the machine and adapter. Hold up on the boring bar and attach the machine to the slide gate valve. Tighten the unit wrench tight. Place the bypass relief valve in the bypass position and open the SGV. Lower the stopper through the fitting until it rests on the bottom of the main. Engage the yoke assembly, then lock it to the boring bar. The yoke will be used to expand the stopper, so the ratchet handle must be held stationary. If it's allowed to turn, the stopper will also turn and might be damaged by a burr or the sharp, freshly cut edge on the main. According to the Mueller operating manual, 8 to 10 full turns of the yoke should be sufficient to effect a positive stop-off with a 2-inch solid rubber stopper. The maximum number of turns is 14, or 1 3/4 inch of travel. Mueller recommends that you count the turns and mark the travel. Overexpansion of the stopper could result in damaging it, or not being able to relax and remove the stopper. Rotate the yoke 1/2 turn at a time, pausing after each turn. This will allow the rubber to expand naturally. Continue turning the yoke in this manner up to 8 turns. Then open the purge valve on the main and test for stop-off. If stop-off is not complete, rotate the yoke until a stop is achieved, making sure not to exceed the 14 maximum turns or the 1 3/4 inch distance. Now, proceed with the repair, replacement, or relocation operation. Keep in mind that the minimum welding distance for the 2-inch stopper is 8 inches. To relax and retract the stopper once work is completed, no equalization is required. This style of stopper is self-equalizing, which means that as we relax the rubber, the gas will escape around it, equalizing the pressure on both sides of the stopper. Reverse the ratchet. Turn the yoke counterclockwise, 1/2 turn at a time, pausing after each turn. Rotate the same number of turns as were used to expand the rubber. This will ensure that the stopper is now the same size as it was before expansion, and that you will be able to remove it from the fitting. Turn the yoke in the counterclockwise direction to retract the boring bar to the rearmost position. Close the gate valve and move the bypass relief valve to the relief position, bleeding the excess gas. Remove the drilling machine and tools from the slide gate valve. Unthread the stopper and holder from the boring bar. And wipe off the stopper. We are now ready to install the completion plug and finish this operation. We will be using the EZ Release Inserting Tool. First, attach the top nut of the inserting tool, wrench tight, to the boring bar. Then, attach the machine adapter. Thread the lower shank into the completion plug as far as it will go. Then back up the shank until the forks fall into the slots on the plug, and attach the unit to the nut, hand tight. Lubricate the O-ring on the completion plug. Retract the tool into the adapter and attach the machine to the slide gate valve. Hold the boring bar up, keeping your face and body clear of the upper end of the boring bar, which will be under full line pressure during the next part of the procedure. If you lose your grip on the boring bar, It could raise forcefully and cause bodily injury. Place the bypass relief valve in the bypass position, equalizing pressure above and below the gate valve. Then open the gate valve. Now, engage the feed yoke without locking it to the boring bar, and use it to guide the boring bar and plug into contact with the fitting threads, all the while rotating the ratchet handle in short clockwise movements. Do not turn the handle a full 360 degrees. That would prevent the threads from catching. After several rotations, pull up on the boring bar and check to see if the threads have caught. If so, continue ratcheting until the completion plug is snug in the fitting. Do not over-torque the ratchet handle. That could break off the forks on the inserting tool. Check for plug tightness by placing the bypass relief valve in the relieve position. If it continues to blow gas, tighten the completion plug some more. When it's secure, reverse the ratchet dog, pick up the slack, and strike the ratchet handle. This will separate the upper and lower sections of the easy release inserting tool. Remove the machine from the slide gate valve and detach the adapter and nut from the machine. Now, remove the SGV from the fitting and unthread the lower shank of the inserting tool from the completion plug. Use the completion plug wrench to secure the plug into the fitting. Apply non-hardening sealant to the outside fitting threads and attach the completion cap, wrench tight. This fitting is double sealed and will allow access to the main if needed in the future. To access the main at a later time, start by unthreading the completion cap slowly. Make sure the completion plug is securely in place. Using the completion plug wrench, try to tighten the plug. If it won't tighten, the seal of the plug is safe to open, without the risk of being ejected out of the fitting and possibly injuring the operator. It's okay to break loose the completion plug by turning the wrench counterclockwise. Attach the extracting tool to the completion plug. Thread it down until it bottoms out, then back it up until the forks drop into the plug slots. Tighten the lock nut to secure the forks to the plug. Attach the slide gate valve to the fitting and place the bypass relief valve in the bypass position. Thread the E5 machine and adapter onto the slide gate valve. Lower the boring bar onto the extracting tool until the tool threads contact the left-hand threads that are inside the end of the boring bar. Ratchet the E5 handle counterclockwise. This will mate the left-hand threads of the extracting tool with those on the boring bar. Continue ratcheting in the counterclockwise direction to unthread the plug from the fitting. Once the plug is free, the pressure will force the boring bar up, so be sure to maintain control of the piston action, keeping your face and upper body clear of the boring bar to avoid possible bodily injury. Extend the bar to the rearmost position and close the gate valve. Holding the boring bar up, expel excess gas by putting the bypass relief valve in the relieve position. Remove the machine with the extracting tool and plug from the valve. Then proceed with the repair, replacement, or relocation operation. During the stopping off procedure, reference was made to Mueller bypass rubber stoppers for use where a continuing flow downstream is required. These are designed to work with the H-17190 series fittings and the E5 or D5 machines. For this operation, we will need two of the following: bypass stoppers, machines, and adapter nipples. Each stopper has a cavity on one side of the body to direct gas flow up through the machine. The machine adapter has a threaded bypass port on one side of the body, where a temporary bypass line can be attached. It's important to remember that the bypass groove on the stopper must be aligned with a part on the boring bar that will be visible during the stopping off operation, so that the stopper is installed in the proper position to redirect the flow. This can be done by marking the thrust collar of the boring bar. Once the machines are in place on the gate valves and the bypass line attached, line up the marks that show the position of the bypass grooves so that they're pointing away from the section of pipe to be isolated. Lower the upstream stopper and expand it. Then lower the downstream stopper and expand it. When stop-off is achieved, purge out the isolated section and proceed with repairs. We have successfully completed the proper procedures for the Mueller one-piece low-pressure line stopper fittings with no blowing of gas to the atmosphere using the Mueller no-blow method. This completes our training video on the installation or repair procedures using Mueller's H-17190 series one-piece low-pressure line stopper fittings. All of us at Mueller Company appreciate your interest in our products. For more information, please call our customer service center at 1-800-798-3131. This presentation is part of a continuing series of training and instructional videos from Mueller Company. Mueller instructional videos are to be used only as training aids. They are not intended to replace the operating instructions or repair manuals. All installation operations should be performed by qualified personnel. Before beginning any no-blow installation or repair procedure, be sure to read, understand, and follow the operating instructions in the manual. And remember, always use genuine Mueller parts, and always use the appropriate safety equipment.